My aim in life was that if I, even in the army, when you went in the services during the war, you got some horrible jobs. We go in the cookhouse to dry about 6,000 dishes, you see, and in the latrines for to clean them out. Well, if I had a job to do, even if it was scrubbing the floor, I wanted my floor to be cleaner than yours. Now, if everybody thinks along these lines and does all the small jobs to the best of their ability, that's honesty, then the world will be better, and football will be better. So what we want is hard work. And no football club was ever successful without hard work.
Hi guys, Sean from the Shankly's Boot Room back here today for another video relating to yesterday's game. Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. And first of all, I want to get a few things out of the way in some overreactions about the game. I think so. You know, this is we're still very much on track. I feel. I know a lot of people are going to say the amount of chances we created in the second half, we should be winning that. And there's some good points to be made about that, but we have to look at the context of the game. Something creeping in, which was there last season, is the conceding goals early and conceding quite cheap goals early as well. We had this problem last season. We seem to be addressed that at the beginning part of this season. It seems to be creeping back in recent games. We're just not switched on or something. We actually started the game, I thought, pretty well. I think I don't have a lot of complaints about how we started the game the first 10 minutes. We get turned over, which is another thing that's happening to us. We're getting turned over a fair bit. We got turned over in midfield there, and then the breakaway comes and Wood gets in and scores. You could argue, could Alisson have been a bit over? Could Virgil come across? Should Konate have been so advanced forward? You can argue all of those factors, but we were the ones on the attack at the end of the day at that moment, and we'd started the game quite well, which is something we haven't been doing, starting games well, so I was pleased with that. Obviously, to concede the goal was not good, but it's our reaction to conceding the goal that's a little bit of a worry, in the sense that we then got sloppy, giving the ball away really easily as well, without any kind of pressure, just giving the ball away. And, you know, that became a theme then for the first half, really, where we were just too slow as well. Very, very slow, sloppy. When we did get our chances, they were just awful, blazed over the bar. Salah blazed over the bar. Gravenberch had a couple of shots over the bar, etc., etc. And we just kind of lost our way, really, in that first half. And I wanted to say it's a game of two halves, really, in the sense of this particular game. Football is a game of two halves anyway, but that's a common theme that's coming into Liverpool a lot, in that we are a game of two halves. We've got to learn to control games for the 90 minutes a lot better than we did in this particular one. Well, we fairly controlled the game, I guess, for the whole match, I think. But I want to get straight down off the bat about the performance itself. I thought it was a great performance. I think second half in particular, obviously, when we really warmed up to the task, we were even better. But it was a good performance. And in the first half, after conceding, as I say, we kind of lost our way a little bit. We become quite sloppy, as I mentioned, and half-time couldn't come quick enough, really, in some respects. Second half, we come out, we're much different. We start to get on the ball. We changed our shape a little bit. Then Slot, of course, makes the substitutions, which is where our amazing goal comes from. Jota scores after being on the pitch for about 10 seconds. The assist and there was a bit of a conversation between, I don't know if you saw this, between Tsimikas and Jota before they actually got onto the pitch. Then when they got onto the pitch, Jota also mentioned something else in the box. I saw him talking to a couple of the players. He seemed to take up a certain position. Whether he'd seen something from the sidelines, I don't know. I'm probably bigging him up too much on that one. But anyway, ball comes in and we score. And then it becomes a bit of a end-to-end game, but without really us looking vulnerable at all. Just regaining a possession back quite quickly and going on and having some very, very good attempts. The centre-backs for Nottingham Forest were all absolutely awesome. I've got to give them their flowers for that, and their overall defensive display was absolutely incredible. Sells in goal, balled off 3 or 4 world-class saves. The double save with the double ricochet was just an incredible save. Absolutely amazing save that was. There's a couple of other ones as well. Let's look at some of the players then. Gravenberch I thought was immense. And I just think he really was totally immense. When he went back even into centre back, he was amazing there. Wherever he plays so well. He's been just our star player for me this season. He's been absolutely immense. I thought he was brilliant. Jota was amazing when he came on. Could have had 3 goals in the space of just a few minutes, virtually, probably, really. So that was a big factor. And it was just a great game. You know, it was just a great performance of their Tsimikas. I'd actually like to see Tsimikas play a few games now. Andy Robertson wasn't his best again. He hasn't been for a while, and I think we have to come to the realisation he's probably on the slight decline now. And the thing is, in the Premiership, in matches like this, when you're on the slight decline, it can look like a big decline, because if you're just 2% less than what you should be, it shows up big time. And that's the problem. We've seen this in the past with players we've had, with Fabinho and Henderson and these kind of players. When the legs start to go and it's not quite there, it becomes an issue. And I think he's becoming a bit that Andy Robertson, really. Even though he's not that old, but he's got so much mileage in them legs of over the years, just running up and down that wing for us. As I say, one of the best, I said the other day, one of the best left backs in the world at one point. But as I did say in my last video, I think it was time to move on from that and upgrade from him. And I'll be mentioning a little bit about that in a minute, with what's going on there, like with the transfers and stuff. So the all-round feeling I have that I come away from the game is more positive than negative, in the sense that we really turned it around in that second half. We should have probably won it in the second half with the amount of chances we created, but the resoluteness of Nottingham Forest and the crowd behind them and the defensive display and the saves and the blocks and everything like that. Trent was really good, started dropping into midfield, getting these passes off and everything like that. I thought he had a really good game. And he was better defensively all round, of course. That's what we need from him every game. And yeah, it was just so many displays over there were really good. You know, Van Dijk, although I think he could have been a bit better for the goal, he could have perhaps got across on that one. Although I don't think he's directly to blame, but he could have sensed the danger and got across, or even played offside, maybe very close to offside that. Alisson, could he have been a bit more? Alisson, since he's come back from his injury, hasn't been quite the same. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. He looks a little bit off it for me, really. I don't know quite why that is. Konate, I'm going to be a little bit gentle on Konate to a certain degree, because I think when he went into midfield and deserted the defending line, it was in an attack scenario where he was trying to build up play, and he comes out from back a lot. So we have to think, and then getting back now was his issue, and I think pre his injury he would have got back. The issue now is that he is getting over an injury and still playing quite a lot of football at the same time. I think those factors together sort of highlight that one there, really. But yeah, it was McAllister was pretty good. Our front three weren't at their best today. I thought Gakpo was pretty poor. Diaz, again, not his best, and Salah had one of his worst performances of the season. I thought he was really poor today. One thing I would have liked to have seen was maybe bring Chiesa on. 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, bring him on. He had a really good game the other day. He's quite bright, he's quite direct. He knows how to score a goal. He's been in teams where they've been going for titles and cups and everything. He's a big game player from his past, so he knows what it's all about. Come in and bring him into that situation, you know, and just see how he gets on, and maybe bring Salah off, even if he doesn't like it. Tough. He wasn't having his best game, so you know he just has to accept that. And that might have been the way for that little bit there. That might have made a difference. I don't know. Might not have done. I just think that's one substitution we could have made. But I've got no problem with Arne Slot's substitutions in general. We got a goal from it. So we move on. It's 1-1. Wasn't the greatest. Certainly first half performance wasn't really there, apart from the first 10 minutes. And the rest of that to the up to the half time was pretty poor by us, really. Lacking in confidence a little bit, moving it too slowly, sloppy. The sloppiness is another thing I don't like in the last few games. We've been very, very sloppy, guys. Really sloppy. I don't like that. We've got to get down to getting our passing. We just need. The thing is, if you play at the tempo we should, everything just folds into place with us. We just know where we should be. We're picking up the right. Everyone starts to move. Everyone starts to get into positions. But when you play slow and just sort of like switched off almost, it just doesn't help the situation. So, but anyway, all round, I'm quite happy with the point, considering conceding a goal early and the place we were playing at, the fact that they're a team that's just behind us in the league, the fact that they're just not there by luck, they're there by, whether we can say that Nottingham Forest next year could end up 15th. We don't know how they're going to build off of this or how their season's going to go. But I just know that they're in and around us, and so we have to take them seriously. And at the end of the day, to come away with a point, even though it's not what we wanted, we've got to start picking up points. There's no two ways about it. But we did highlight this one and the Brentford game at the weekend, which I think we've really got to try and win that one now. Definitely. We don't know what's going to happen tonight with Arsenal and Tottenham, of course. We hope for a draw or something there, or even a Tottenham win would be okay. Would be brilliant. But just say even Arsenal do win it, that cuts us down to, I think, it'll be 4 points by then. We've just got to keep on concentrating on ourselves and just keep trying to pick up points, just trying to win our games really now from here on in. And that's what we've got to kind of drum in. Now, let's move on to a little bit about the transfer market. What's going on with the club? At the moment, we are carrying on as a club, especially from the ownership perspective, like we have given in our P45 and we're working our last week at work. When you leave a job, when you're given your P45, your output tends to drop that last week. It just, by nature, it just does. You don't quite put the effort in that you would do if you was just started the job, or it was your career for looking to when you retire or something like that. At the end of the day, your output just drops off. And the lack of commitment at the moment with Liverpool is quite staggering, really, when you think about it. When you think of the contracts unresolved, when you think of the players we probably should have brought in the summer and didn't, when you think of even in this January market, is there anyone we can bring in to help us? Maybe say at left back, because Robinson worries me quite a bit now. I think he's dropped off. Is that bad? It sort of sticks out as well, and teams are going to target that area all the time, and just the other positions as well. And we're just not doing things. Getting a bid for 70 million for Darwin Núñez and turning it down. We want 75. It just all sounds a bit off to me. So, give me your opinions, guys. Give me your opinions in the comments down below. I'd really appreciate that. And let's hope that this is a. Let's just hope we perhaps do something this month. It's what I really, really want us to do, and I hope we can. As you know, I'm not an FSG supporter. Never have been. Never will be, really. They just don't have the ambition, and they're showing it more now than ever. We're at the top of the league, and new managers come in. I don't even think Chiesa is anything to do with him either, by the way. He came in, he said, I'm a head coach, and I work with whatever players that they bring in. And that's how it's showing to me as well, but the point is, if he doesn't trust a player, he isn't going to play him. And that's why I think we're seeing him not even playing him, because why did Chiesa not play today at some point? He played really well the other day. Just bring him on for 10 to 15 minutes. Why not? If you believe in someone, you would do it. So there's a few players, Harvey Elliott's, and just one or two players there that you can see are not really in his future plans, is how it's showing up to me. And so he's got to be involved. But I think to give the man his best shot, they should be supporting him a bit more. I think we need one or two players. I really, really do. And I think if we do that, I think we can go on and win this league. Without that, I think it's going to be a real struggle, and that kind of thing. So this is a massive club. I've been supporting it since 1974. I love this club to pieces, and I think at the moment we seem to be at our worst in terms of there just seems to be no direction. Yet we brought in people that in the past have shown great direction. Even we talk about Hughes. Hughes at Bournemouth was doing some good stuff there for the club he was at. So how come things are not going right here? Is he just not able to actually do any business because he's not been given the money? And that's my point about, are these, where do we stand with these owners? Because no one's mentioning this, but are they actually just really winding down the club and hopefully, and at some point in the future, going to put it on the market? I don't know, because they're not carrying on like a ownership group that wants you to be even top four successful. Because I think we've punched above our weight with Arne Slot. I really do. I think we've punched above our weight. But he needs investment, he needs support, he needs help, he needs players. And they should be players that they're looking at, and they should be running it past Arne Slot. Would you work with this? Is this the kind of play you feel we should be getting? What's your side of it? Ultimately, Edwards and Hughes would have the final say. Particular Edwards would have Hughes would have the final say on those things. But ultimately, you've got to make sure it's a player that even the manager wants, because he's got to work with him every day. There has to be that communication. So why we've got no movement? And the worrying thing is Arne Slot's almost said that indirectly, said, yeah, we'll do something if anything major comes along. This is another thing. We've got to start getting back to the A, B, C, D, E of choices for players in certain positions. It can't just be A or nothing. There's no real world it works like that. We are very, very arrogant in the market, guys. Very, very arrogant. To be offered 70 mil, if this is true, for Darwin Núñez, who has been absolutely awful this season. And in actual fact, if he's not playing, it doesn't actually matter. It makes no impact or difference to the team or anything. If he's not playing, it just doesn't even make any impact. So for us to be haggling over 5, because there's actually, the article I read was 75 million is what they're looking for, so 5 million more. Those little things, we've done this again with the Chelsea player there, I've got his name for the minute, where we haggled over 2 mil. It's just arrogance, total arrogance. Just pay up the money, and if you don't, if they don't want to manage us, they don't want us to be successful, then go. FSG, just go, sell us, put us on the market and sell us, and hopefully we have someone who comes in with a bit more ambition. People say how brilliant they are at sustaining the club. It's nothing to do with sustaining the club. It really isn't. It's to do with their ambition for us to be successful. And that's what all the fans are crying out for. We're Liverpool Football Club. We're not any club. We are the biggest club in this country, for me. People will say Man United or whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not having that. It's Liverpool. We are the biggest club in this country. And we need to start acting like we're the biggest club in this country. And we need to start being backed like we're the biggest club in this country by our owners. And this is what I've got to say about this. So I'd love to see a left back come in. Is there anyone in the market? As you know, I said yesterday or on one of my previous videos that I'm not big on what players come in. I just trust the ownership, and I trust in particular the sporting directors to get the players in they feel that we need by the data, by having watched them, by scouting them. And I trust those players to come in and fit into the system that Slot has. If we pick Slot through that kind of data, probably none of us had heard of Slot. I hadn't before he came in. And then when he came into the club, we now know what kind of manager he is and what kind of players he wants, and they can work together to work around who that might be. I don't know, but I think they should know, and they should be targeting them, and they should be bringing them in. Let's hope before the end of the month they do, because I think that's what we really need, is a bit of a push to help us out in the consecutive game sort of scenario, to rotate the squad a bit more. We're notorious for tailing off at the end of seasons. Yes, we haven't put the energy in, I don't think, and we don't train as hard as we did under Klopp. So hopefully that won't happen this season. We have no injuries at the moment apart from Joe Gomez. And at the end of the day, that's a fantastic, but we've still got a lot of games to play, especially if we go far in the competitions all the way through in the Champions League and the league. So all put everything together, there's a lot of football still to be played. So, but these are obvious things to all of us fans, but it seems like the club don't see it that way. So I don't know why. Like I say, they're acting like they've given in their P45 and they're just letting the club run down for me. That's very much how I view it now, because, I mean, actually, if you think about it, typically, a new manager coming into a club, very, 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 very few managers that come into a club don't have the ability to create their own team, irrespective of how good Klopp's team's been and how good those players are. You would expect a manager to come in and tweak it and do a little bit of things how he was. We said we understood he was assessing the team. Well, it's well assessed now. He must know the areas um, that we need to change. He goes on a lot about these low blocks. He's been mentioning that in his post-match press conference of how difficult it is with a low block. Well, we're going to be facing a lot of low blocks. We're probably going to be facing even more low blocks because we know other teams know we struggle with a low block. Very few teams are going to come out and attack Liverpool. They're really not, especially at Anfield. They're just not going to do that. So we've got to work out ways to break things down and all of this kind of thing. That's tactics. It's also players as well. Different types of players that can help you achieve those goals. So I'm hoping to see some movement in the market. I hope we do. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Just a quick video to give my assessment of yesterday's game. Good performance, not the result we wanted. That's what I think is the best way to sum it all up, really. But we can't complain about the performance, guys. And I've seen a lot of people really slating just come on, guys, calm down. You know, that was a good performance in that second half. Yeah, we had our moment, but that first half after the goal, after we conceded, we dropped off. We've become sloppy, a bit nervous, a bit messy. But at the end of the day, you know, it's football. If we didn't have the second half performance, we'd have some big worries. But my gosh, we could have scored 5 or 6 in that second half. If you really think about the opportunities we had, if it wasn't for a great keeping, lots of blocks, you know, players clearing stuff off the line, all this kind of thing, you know, everything was set up perfectly for them defensively, I think, and that's the thing. We might have even played that game till Tuesday and never scored. I don't know. It's just one of them games from that perspective. But we created a lot of chances and we could have scored with 2 or 3 more. So I'm positive about that, and we've got to take that momentum in now to the Brentford game. It's definitely a point gained, I think, in that sense. Yes, people will say it's 2 points dropped, but because of the chances we created. But we take the positivity out of the game and take it into Brentford. And let's smash Brentford on the weekend. Right, guys, I'm off now, so I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.